Yes, please. I'm very honored to do so. Russia is a new market on wind energy, contemporary wind energy market, even though it has a big history of developing machinery and all of that, starting from 60s. So it's pretty early days it was, but then later we kind of gave it up towards nuclear and some other applications. Now we had a good chance to revive it as a country was introducing renewable scheme supports. Biggest issue with those though at the moment due to coronavirus and low price of oil, most of the economy is still really dependent on oil prices. So our budgets, like budgets of federal budget or regional budgets, are built on, and even currency is dependent. So the budget is built on an oil price of something around 40 rubles $42 per barrel of oil. So now it drops significantly. So there would be a lack of, so it was pretty smartly built around, if for instance oil price goes down, they devalue the local currency. And all support systems though are in Russian currencies. So previously it was pretty, how to say, pretty difficult when at times, because the project with wind energy is pretty capital intense and can give you long lasting periods. So now it's pretty difficult in order to calculate rate of return if the equipment is imported. Most of the equipment at the moment not produced in Russia, even though we had several hundred of megawatts of new installations and several facilities built, due to the fact that most of the raw materials are still imported. So in that respect, long-lasting projects like wind energy or solar is not that much, because they've been investing heavily in production. So they're not so much dependent on that. But for this wind energy, we will have some issues with that. But then it's not the first time in Russia then that sort of thing happens. So we potentially have potential to readopt, but the recovery of the economy might take long this time, because Russian government doesn't support much current industries, neither of industries or small or mid-size or big industries. Probably in the future, once the situation will stabilize, they will probably support bigger banks and all of that. But what I feel like there would be interest rates increase and returns of investment for the current investors who already invested in the bidding processes and got some idea over the portfolio that it was pretty balanced, but balanced around cost of capital intensity. I mean, we are speaking about capital per, I mean, our tenders were built around cost per capita for installed capacity, not per kilowatt hour. So in that respect, tenders which were told or which were sold were around 1 million euro per megawatt installed. Now it's obviously with decrease of the currency around 20%, 25%. So it turns into 750. Maybe some of the bigger players might reconsider of building some. But I do believe still there is an opportunity for our country to think and try to manage it or support potential industries. It's pretty early time to say how it will develop from the coronavirus, but onwards. But at the moment, it's not that simple, to my mind, because the economy is really linked towards Russian ruble, and but equipment of capital-intensive industry like wind energy is built on dollar or euro value. So I don't know if Stefan, that made sense a bit, because I didn't prepare the presentation. Sorry.
Yeah, well, thank you very much anyway for jumping in, because we still seem to have some technical problem with Igor Bruskinov. So thank you for giving us an idea without really preparing that, but I think that was a quite comprehensive insight of what's going on.
So if you want, I can do more elaborate talk about the current development of the industry, due to the fact that there are bigger players like NL, like people like Fortum, Finnish companies. They're kind of definitely would be really linked to the economies back home. And Italy doesn't seem to be strong at the moment. Neither the Finland would be, because attacked by a global crisis. So, which also brings to the idea that bigger players not always playing kind of simple or fair. So they have some pretty big question mark on if they will still continue, because they are very much not about shareholder. They're more about shareholder value rather than making this type of project live, if you know what I mean. So they're kind of bound to a return on investment per share, rather than building projects and making them work.
What's the midterm and the long-term targets, the official target of the Russian government at this point of time?
Yeah, it's around till 2024. It's 3.6 gigawatt. It's not huge. Tenders were played, and it was kind of oversold, the tenders, but at the same time, it really reduced the price. At the time, it was 1 million per megawatt installed. Now 1 million euro, around that prices. But now it's obviously turned into values like 20-25% less.
Very good. Good, Evgeny. If we have any questions coming from the audience, then we will share with you. We certainly tried to get the presentation. I'm sure that Igor has prepared a PowerPoint presentation with some figures that people might be interested. We'll share that later with you. At the moment, thank you for your spontaneous jumping in. I think that was still insightful and very useful. And we wish you all the best. And let me also say that SWA, we've played a role in analyzing the market, and we were planning to continue that. Again, this is at the moment hampered by the Corona crisis, but I hope that in the next half year or so, we can again continue supporting the Russian wind power market to develop.
I do believe, I do believe that it's a longer term project. It's not a one-day game. So it's obviously it's need to be supported and need to be played in the local market pretty strongly for a longer period. It's not a one-day job. Thank you very much.
Good. There is one question. Let me ask you that right away from Bernd Radowitz. I think he's a journalist. Is there any movement from the government for tenders for the post-2024 period? Are targets set for that?
Yes, they rescheduled it to December now, but I'm not 100% sure that by December there would be again a new tender might be there, but there would be followers for this tender, because then the whole system was pretty artificial and fragile by not linking it to euro or dollar values. Yeah, so it makes it pretty stiff and fragile at the same time. So they plan it for December. Later we will know better on this. But yes, there are plans beyond 2025.
Thank you. I think this is very useful. Also, your kind of personal assessment of the situation.